Perfect.
So, hey everyone, it's Paul Michael. I am excited. We're going to try to start doing this more and more and more and more. So it's like, listen, I believe there's a lot of people in life that think they can tell you what to do, but if they don't have the results, why do you listen to them? And so I have asked Mr. Adonis Martinez to, that's so funny. So it's are you Spanish?
Yes.
Like what nationality?
Dominican.
Oh, okay. Do you speak Spanish?
Yes, man.
Oh my gosh, like we need to be opening up more Spanish markets. So I was telling one of my business partners today, I'm like, I'm down in Colombia right now, and it's just crazy to me that like I think in the US we're so sheltered that like we think, oh, we got to get everything in the US, and we do have to get everything in the US right with our app and all that stuff. But the opportunity outside of the United States for what we're doing is going to be just so massive, and people in a lot of other countries I think are way more open and not as skeptical as Americans sometimes. So what I want to do is Adonis is actually I met him in Vegas a few months ago, and then we opened up a city called Fort Irwin. Is that California or Vegas?
In California.
Okay, but right across the line from Vegas or from Nevada?
No, it's like an hour and 45 minutes away from the border of California and Nevada.
Okay, man, like in the middle of, I don't want to say nowhere, but nowhere.
Yeah.
So it was funny because I've got it. We've grown so quickly and done, we're growing very well. I'm very, involved with traveling and making the company grow and those type of things. And so we opened a city, and I had met, I met Adonis out in Vegas when Tony and I were out doing an event. And so I met him, but like sometimes names don't always register. Even my own doesn't stick with me forever. And so they opened a city called Fort Irwin. And it was funny because in the first week, and I got a text message on every ride that comes through, and I was like, Fort Irwin, Fort Irwin, Fort Irwin, and I'm like, where is Fort Irwin, first of all? And I called Evelyn and some of the people that help run the corporate side of things, and I'm like, who is this person? Like, what is this going on? And then I got on the phone with Adonis, and he refreshed my memory, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like he was not one of those people that, there's a lot of people that walk up to me and go, oh, just remember my face. I'm going to be one of those people, blah, 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 blah. And it's funny because when I first talked, I was like, listen, you weren't one of those people that did that. You just went out and did it. And then it's funny because the more I found out about him, I realized he was in the military, and that when I wish I would have gone into the military. I think I have a pretty good work ethic, but I think it would have been 10 times better if I would have actually gone into the military. But for some reason, they didn't want to let me in with my grades. But so what I want you to do just real quick, Adonis, is just kind of like, tell me a little bit of your background, and then I'm going to feed us into how you did things, where you see things going. I'll just start asking you some questions, and we'll just kind of riff off each other. How's that sound?
Sounds good. There's no swearing allowed, or is there?
I don't care.
Okay. I'm just going to talk the way I talk.
Yeah, I don't go too crazy. But I talk how I talk, it's like, I usually just don't want to turn people off, but it's like my mentor taught me a long time ago. It's like when you try to become somebody you're not, it turns people off even more. So,
yeah. Well, no, man. So I was just doing Uber one night on Fremont Street, and then Darius came up to me.
How long have you been doing Uber? Like, so you're in the military and you're doing Uber at the same time?
Yeah.
So you're about 2 hours away from how far away from Vegas are you?
So the Army base is 2 hours and 30 minutes away from the city of Las Vegas. But
let me make sure I get this right. So you would you do your duty, work all week, however much and then on your off time would drive 2 hours or so to go do Uber.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing. It's really not amazing, but most people would think it's amazing. But for me or someone like you, I'm like, that's just what you got to do. Whereas most people wouldn't go into that extreme to do it. So you went in there. How long have you been doing Uber?
Been doing Uber since, I would say 2019, 2018. So a while I've been doing it.
You came across one of our people.
Yeah. I came across Darius on Fremont Street. He came up to me. He was like, "Yo, there's a new app. We want to pay more. We drivers. The power is in the driver's hands now. This and that." And at first, I was like, "Damn, that sounds good, man." But I know it's probably bullshit. But you know what?
Right.
Give me a card. You know what I mean? Give me the card. I took it and everything. I downloaded the app, and then the flyer just stayed in my car for a while. And it wasn't until Darius hit me up like 2 weeks later, like, "Yo, what's up? There's a meeting today. You hopping on?" And I was like, one thing I've learned from doing business, because it's not my first rodeo, but one thing I've learned from business is that you always have to keep an open horizon. You always have to be open for new opportunities because you never know when something's going to come across that you can actually blow up in or take you to the next, or you can
You
take it
know
to the
what?
next level.
It's a thin line. So like with me, I have to stay so laser focused on what I'm doing, or it'll get me really sidetracked. But you're 100% right. I never want to not talk to someone because you're right. You never know. You
Yeah.
never know where your best people can come from. You never know where your best ideas can come from. I mean, some of our best ideas have already come from drivers. And so, but you're 100% right. If you close your mind, it's like a parachute. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
So you got on that
1000%.
call.
Got on that call, and Alex was go ahead and just spitting out bars, as they say, talking about, this and that and
Alex is one of my really good
crypto.
friends. I've known him for 20 plus years. In my lifetime, I would never think someone would connect Alex with spitting out bars. But he
Yeah,
does know
man.
a lot. He's very knowledgeable and he's very, very helpful for people. So he's
Yeah.
amazing.
Oh yeah, he is, man. The guy's solid, solid. And I like the way he was basically delivering the whole thing, the whole presentation. And after that day, I remember because I stopped, was doing Uber when Darius called me for the meeting. I was at a car wash. I parked just out at the car wash parking lot, and then Alex started talking about the business, and I was like, okay, well then I can blow this up, and I know exactly how I was going to do it.
Right.
Um, but and then
So
I heard
what
you.
was your idea when you saw it? Because I know we have a way we tell people to do things, but listen, I'm not perfect. I don't know every single way. And sometimes things work different for different people. So when you decided that day to actually go after it, what was your next move?
My next move was I started marketing on the army base right away. So the army base has Facebook groups that you join, and I started marketing through there. I started messaging people random directly on
So
Facebook to
was
tell
this
them about it.
prior to opening the city then, correct?
Yeah,
You
this is
started laying
prior.
the groundwork of, hey, this is coming, this is what's going to
Yeah,
happen. And it's
yeah,
not, I know some people are going to listen to this. They go, oh, well, I don't have a army base or a military base that's, 2 hours away from everything. And in the middle of the, nobody else is there. And it's funny because so many people will find reasons why not. And if I'm listening to what you're saying, I'm going, hey, you know what? I don't care if it's a military base, a city, a town, whatever. There's still going to be things exactly what you're talking about. There's going to be Facebook groups in that town that are localized, right?
yep,
There's going to be driver groups in that town. And if there's not a driver group in that town, guess what you can do? Start a driver group. It's
yeah,
like I tell people all the time, if you want to find drivers that are disillusioned and hate it, and you want to find a support group for them, go to these online groups because they're not. I think I call them support groups because all they are is therapy, pretty much. So people to go to gripe, complain,
yep,
and I tell people all the time, if you're going to go in there, I would not just throw an ad up. You throw an ad up and you're going to get ridiculed. Like,
yeah,
oh, it's one of those stupid things. You're drumming, you're blah, 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 you're getting into them. They're going to ridicule you. But if you just watch the comments and you watch the people and then you message them directly, say, hey, you know what? I really like your attitude. I really think that you're going somewhere. Our company that I work with, I didn't want to say it out in front of everyone because not everybody's open minded. I kind of put it out there to begin with,
yeah,
like so that they can't come back and be negative. Hey, you know what? Our company is looking to open up. You sound like somebody who can help us. Our drivers get paid way more, So go ahead. I'm sorry. I don't mean to cut you off, but I just like to really dig into some of the things people say because I think if we gloss over them, people will go, "Oh, well, I'm not in the military base. I can't do it." But
yeah.
the things that you did were so solid, I think, and it's helped you every single day.
I mean, yeah, I mean, even before the military base, well, I first started messing around with Revo in Las Vegas as a testing ground. I use Vegas to learn about the app, how it works, and uh how can I finesse it as well. For example, I get creative. For example, when you open Fremont, and I was like, okay, well, you want to open Fremont, what about these other parts? And then Alex was like, well, you got to start slow. And I was like, and I told Darius, well, then fuck that, I don't want to start slow, I want to fucking start now, man. What da, 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 da. And so then I was like, you know what, fuck this, I'm gonna do it my way. And then what I decided to do is that I just started generating rides on my own, and riders will pay me cash, or I would tell riders that are young that know how to mess around with apps and whatnot to, hey, just put the pickup as Fremont. You're gonna get a discount if you put it Fremont. That way, because it gets me more points, this and that in the company. It looks good on me. Just put the ride and pick up in Fremont. I'll take you wherever you want to go. And I started doing that, and I started getting.
When
I
he
was the
says
only.
finesse the system, he didn't play the system. Like,
Oh
I
yeah,
think
yeah,
some people get that confused, like, oh,
yeah,
let
yeah,
me
yeah,
try and
yeah,
get over on the company. It's like what I need people to understand is like we're all in this together. Like
yeah,
it's funny because I think drivers have been so long that it's them against Uber or them against Lyft or them against whoever. It's like anything that goes wrong, they're like, oh, you guys are trying to screw us. Oh, you guys are doing this. Oh,
exactly.
no,
Oh
we're
my
not.
gosh.
Like we're trying to do the best we can. We're trying not to
Yeah.
spend hundreds of millions of dollars on advertising, so we don't have to
It
take
makes
that.
sense. No, it
You know,
does. It makes perfect sense. I got it. When Darius
yeah,
told it to
you
me,
did.
and I didn't.
You 100% got it, which is what I think that is so frustrating me for sometimes is there's people that have a lot of talent and could really kill this, but they don't have either the stamina, they don't have the perseverance, they don't have the understanding of, hey, listen, this is going to take a minute to build. Uber, if people would have got involved with Uber in their first couple of days or weeks or months or years, they would never still be with Uber and Lyft. They wouldn't have made it.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so we're no better than they are in the fact that we're still new. It's like you have a brand new baby, right?
yeah.
How old is it? You have a son or daughter? Come here, you
A
told me.
daughter, a
A
daughter.
daughter. How old
Yeah,
is she?
5 months.
She's not walking yet, right?
Not yet. Not
So
yet.
when she does start walking, if she stands up and falls down, I don't think you and your wife are going to sit there and go, "Oh my God, what an idiot kid! Like this kid's like never going to be able to walk."
Of
You're gonna
course
pick
not.
her up. You're gonna.
Yeah,
It's the same thing in the military. It's like they
yeah.
break you down to build you back up. And so
They
it's the
sure do.
same thing with our business. And that's one of the things I love about you is like your attitude is always on point. It's always, hey, you know what? I've never ever one time from you, maybe you do it with other people, but not with me so far, is like just complain. Like you're like, hey, here's a solution to a problem. Here's what I think I can do. I want to, you came to me a couple of days, like, I want to open, what I got to do to open the whole city of Las Vegas. And I said, all right, like I'm not going to be one to rain on his parade, but I've seen this game before. Like if
Yeah,
we don't have drivers take their drives, but I kind of just said, listen, here's what I think we should do. Maybe we should just open a smaller area, then start going and open them and open them, but open them. But I'm way more open to listening to someone like you than to someone that's told me what they're going to do 400 times. And I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do that. And then they never do any of it. As
yeah.
opposed to you, I can see by your results in my text messages, probably just even today, if I go in here and look. So go on some of the things that you did from that point.
Yeah, no. So what I did with Fremont, I just went all out on Fremont Street. Me and Darius started to go out there and yell at people. So I was on the streets, just yelling crazy things. Sometimes I sounded unprofessional, but those unprofessional pitches are what works. I mean, like, hey, you look like you're really, fucking thirsty. Here's some water, free water on Revo. You know about Revo? Oh, listen, Revo. We got prettier drivers. We got beautiful women driving our cars. It's just the whole thing.
And
These
let me
guys.
explain some of you that don't like the F word. Don't do it. If that's not you, don't do these things. Like it's funny because when I do presentations, I'm different than everybody else around me. I'm
Yeah.
not, I could be, if I wanted to be polished, I could do just like my friend Tony does. My friend Tony is one of the best speakers I know. For him, like he's very analytical and methodical and he gets through the information. I get up there, I'm all over the place, but that's who I am.
Yeah.
And I tell everything through stories. So what I want you to understand is like, listen, if you're not like Adonis, don't go, I can't do this because I've never used the F word in my life. That's what this is about. You can be who you are. And
Of
it's
course.
also when you're recruiting and you're bringing in a team of people, like Adonis is going to probably recruit more people that like the F word than don't, because you're going to recruit who you are. And so just understand that. Like if you want to recruit someone like an Adonis, like you're going to have to be a little more aggressive. You're going to have to be a little more forceful. If you want to get a city up and running, like so keep going. So you're out there talking to people. You're starting to do a little ride
Other
here and
talking
there.
to people.
Prior to
Yeah,
opening,
yeah, and I would just tell people, let's go right now. Get in the car right now. I'll take you. So they'll be out there, So there's a section of Fremont where they're waiting for their Ubers, and Darius and I are out there getting after it, just yelling at people. Darius is in
but
one
when you
corner.
say you're yelling at people, are you customers or drivers?
These are customers. They're like a block away, and I'm yelling, "Download Revo! REVO right here, REVO Ride-share. I'm just yelling, bro, on the street,
That's awesome.
and people, some people are laughing. I'm popping off jokes. You know, people say, "Oh, you're not gonna kidnap me." I was like, "Oh, hey, I might. You never know. Unless you want me to. I'm just joking around."
You don't
And
download the
people would get
app,
in the
we
car.
might have a problem.
Exactly, and people would download
Listen,
the app, get in the
you can
car.
get away with that. It's funny because some people can't, and they might try. So, like,
Yeah,
once again, I would encourage them to be who you are and find out what works for you, because there's something that will work for you. When you say you're yelling at people and talking about Revo and screaming it, a lot of people barely won't even spell Revo quietly. They're like,
yeah,
like, no, like, you need attention. Like, I
yeah.
mean, I'm way louder. I'm very much of an introvert in real life. Like, I don't like certain situations. I don't like to be around big crowds of people. But I also know that we day trade on attention now. And the only way for me to be able to get people to, move into what we're doing and see it is sometimes I got to be a little more forceful. Sometimes I got to be a little more loud. And I think that that's kind of where you're at as well. So y'all started doing rides, just taking people.
Off the street. At first I was doing it. People that got in my car, I convinced them to download it when I was doing Uber. But then I got tired of that. I was like, you know what? There has to be a more effective way. So we just went out to the street and started yelling at people.
So you were
You know,
talking to people, and I know I still don't want people to get that yelling thing. We're going to be on the
sorry,
news.
talking. My
We're
bad.
going to be on the news for yelling at people. I don't. When he says yelling, I know what he means. He's
Yeah,
hollering at him, talking to
yeah,
him.
yeah, 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 yeah.
And when you said you got him, did you just get him and take him for a ride for free, just so they would download the app, or did you
No,
just?
get them in the car before they even download the app. I'd be like, they'll be how much it is to go to the airport. Like, I'm gonna look it up on the app right now, and I pop up the app right in front of them. Boom, this is how much
Oh,
it is. And it was like, all
that's
right. It was like,
great.
okay. And they just get
That's
in the
awesome.
car. And as I'm driving down, they're downloading the app, making their account. Okay, book the ride right now. Make the reservation. I accepted it. Boom. And I can't I can't do the pickup because I'm not there anymore at the pickup in the
Right, right,
pickup spot.
right.
I'm over here blowing up Lisa's phone. If Lisa doesn't respond, I blow up
Guess
Evelyn's.
what? We're not doing that anymore. That kills me. Like, listen, Adonis made my life living, what, for a couple of weeks. So, what I would tell people to do is get them in the car, do what
Yeah,
you're doing, but have them download the app real quick. Doesn't take that
yeah,
long. And
yeah,
say,
yeah,
listen, I'm going to give you, uh, I don't know. We'll give them a discount, or we'll give them some points. We'll give them something.
yeah,
we know what I can do. And this is a good idea. You and I are talking. Instead of you starting the ride and then whatever, get them to download the app, and I will get a $5 off code for their first ride. I mean, they get the first, I think they get $5 off their
you
first
get
five
five
rides.
off the rip.
Anyway,
Yeah,
maybe we'll give them a little bit more of a discount.
yeah,
When we make our pay plan changes, we'll probably just change it to a percentage.
yeah,
Or maybe their next ride, we'll give them that $5 off their first one, and the next one we'll give them a code so that they
yeah,
can do it off of their sixth one, and maybe we'll add a sixth one on. So this is a
yeah,
good thing that we're talking about that. But just get them in the car, like, talk to them. Hey, listen, I'm a hustler. I'm trying to build my business, and
yeah.
then you get them in that car. Would you talk to them about? What would you talk to them about? Like, Revo is in, they can register and they'll have their own app, they'll have their own code, or
It's a mix of keeping them engaged with me. So what I'm doing is that I'm asking them about how was their time in Vegas. How do you enjoy Vegas? Why did you come to Vegas? Where are you from?
right,
And as they're telling me stories about their trip in Vegas, talking to me about themselves, because people love talking about themselves.
absolutely.
I will interject and be like, "Oh, real quick, before you continue with the story, just make sure you're this part of the app." And then she'll continue talking about her life. And then, oh yeah, don't forget. Oh yeah, here. Oh, put your name here. Put your email here. Okay, I got it. I'll confirm it. And then they just continue talking about their. And then
That's
what I would
awesome.
do to
So
buy
you
to
do
buy
that
time.
in the beginning. I think if we'd start teaching, I think this is really good teaching stuff. When you get them in the car, like, hey, let's go ahead and get the app downloaded. If we go ahead and get it done now, we can book the ride. I know it's going to take a couple minutes, maybe 32 minutes, 3 minutes. But next, you get your first 5 rides, you get $5 off. On that sixth one, I'm going to make sure you get a couple extra.
Yeah,
I'll give you a code before you get out of the car. And that'd be good because we're going to talk. We're going to get this done right now. Then on the way to the airport, instead of having to do all the other stuff while you're trying to get them there, now you can just talk. Now you can
yeah,
just build that rapport and that kind of stuff. And then they're already downloaded into the system. And then you can just tell them some of the other things. Hey, if you use this QR code, you can get this, blah, blah, blah. So you started getting rides, doing it that way. And then you said, hey, I want to bring this out to Fort Irwin. Is that what happened?
yeah. So basically, what happened? So I thought At first, I thought I didn't know I had the power of claiming to be captain of an area and then hitting up corporate to open it. I thought there was, a process of paperwork and county and all these things. Some politician, you got to wet their hands or whatever. I just thought it was a whole thing. But
Right,
then
right,
Darius
right.
told me, Darius called me because see, that's another thing about Darius and myself, dude. We spend an hour, even sometimes close to 2 hours, just talking about Revo.
That's
Which
awesome.
we'll just be talking about what our plans are, and we'll repeat ourselves 1,000 times, and we never get tired. It could literally be Monday through Friday, dude. So I have a 2 hour drive home. So in those 2 hours, man, I'm calling Darius, and we're just chatting it up like
Dude,
this and
that
that. Da, da, da.
so makes me so happy because that's how I am. And it's funny because when you say, if it was anybody but you two, I would probably be a little worried because a lot of times what people do is they get in there, oh my God, this sucks. Oh my God, this sucks. You and Darius, I know, aren't doing that. You're like, how can you push each other to be better? What can we do next to get better? How can
Yeah.
we blah blah blah? And I think that is so valuable and important when you're trying to build a business. And and it doesn't have to be the person that got you in. I know Darius, the one that brought you into the business,
Yeah.
but like Tony and I, we were not, I never made a dime off of Tony. Tony never made a dime off of me, but we helped each other build our businesses. So having someone like Darius is invaluable that you can talk about those things. Hey, this is what I'm doing. So you got excited. So you got in touch with corporate, you talked to Lisa, right?
Mhm.
And then she gave you the parameters of what we needed. And it wasn't as bad as people make it out to be.
Not at all. She said all I need is a list of prices, and I need you to have like 10 drivers. And I was like, okay, Lisa, I'm gonna hit you up back literally in 2 days. And she thought maybe I was joking around, and I hit her up in 2 days with a lot of
I'll say
information.
she thought you're full of shit is what she thought
Yeah,
because nobody ever does that. Excuse my language. But I know it's like, listen, we try not to get jaded, but it's like so many times people just blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And so when someone comes along like yourself or, Jeff Trills that went out and did it, and some other people are starting to do it now too. But you and Jeff are the two that I've really noticed have just said, you know what, I'm going to take this on like it's my own. And you went out and did it. And it's like, that's why we tell people we need a certain amount of data. We're working on it so that didn't even have to happen. And then you had to have certain number of data. And then the biggest thing is, and I think we really, really, really need to, talk about this, is having a certain number of fail-safe drivers, but always bringing on more drivers, always bringing on more customers. There will come a point where that just tips and you won't be able to. 5 years from now, you'll talk to somebody and they'll be like, I've heard about Revo. Leave me alone. Like I'm
Fact.
already signed up. But right now, it's not like that. So it's
Yeah.
like you got to keep getting, new
Well,
people.
to tell you the
You know,
truth, in the base, it's like that. In the base, I got soldiers coming up to me, bro. I don't want to open Facebook. Every time I open Facebook, I see a Revo ad. I'm like, perfect. That's exactly how I wanted to be.
yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. My
mine is
leadership.
downloading the app.
Yeah, my leadership is frustrated with me because there'll be soldiers on the Facebook groups asking about random things. Hey, who has a power jack? Who has a leaf blower for? And so every single post, well, not every single, but a lot of them that have nothing to do with ride or transportation. I'll just comment REVO Ride-share, and here's a link to download.
See, that's the
So,
difference. You're not scared to get it out there. You're not scared.
yeah,
Like you're the best marketing piece that we'll ever have because you're going to talk to 20 people, 30 people, 100 people. And one of the things I want people to know, and I hope you're still doing this, is you can't just get customers one time. Like I think what happens is people go, oh, I'm fired up, I'm excited, I'm going to put out a bunch of flyers, I'm going to get the rides, I'm going to get the drivers, I'm going to get all this stuff, I'm going to open my city, and then I'm going to sit back and just wait for it to roll. Like
yeah,
it doesn't work like that. Like you've
not at all.
always got to be putting new people into the business.
Not
Always.
at
Like
all. Yeah,
in the military, are they not always recruiting?
always.
Like isn't recruiting probably one of the biggest, most important jobs in the military?
Yes,
Because you're
yes,
you're always getting people that are going out on the other side, retiring, quitting, not coming back, not re-signing. So it's like you've always got to be filling that void. And unfortunately, a lot of times people get into our business, they get a couple of drivers because we tell them you have to have a certain number of fail-safe drivers. And one thing too is like when you tell me someone is a fail-safe driver, like I have a text group between my corporate staff, and when it says looking for a driver, I get mad because my staff shouldn't be having to look for a driver. The person that's the lead in that city should have enough drivers that
yeah,
when that drive comes up, they automatically click it. And one thing I can say about Fort Irwin is that we don't have that happen much. Like usually the rides there are picked up And it's funny because I tell people you got a 3-strike rule. You start getting three dropped rides because the customers are so important, and you never get a second chance to make a first impression. And so with you though, I don't get as upset because you have a lot of rides coming through, and the percentage of how many rides to how many don't get a driver is very small. And we've had to make some concessions. Like, you're so far out of town, like, your people understand that maybe, sometimes we won't be able to find a driver, but
They
we
know,
don't have
yeah.
a problem. But I'm sure you're trying to put more and more drivers on all the time, right?
I've hired this week, I think like 7 or 8, and last week I hired another 5.
So we don't
Yeah.
call them hired because they're independent contractors.
Sorry.
But no,
Oh
it's
my
okay.
god,
Listen,
my bad.
no, it's not a bad thing. So, but what he's saying is the most valuable thing you can do. He's been doing this, and he's bringing on more and more drivers. And if you set the expectations for these drivers, hey, listen, you may not get a ton of rides, but you're going to make more money on these rides than you would with the other. And listen, I need you to be available anytime, when we open the. And listen, the rides that you have are pretty high, and the amount that's charged, correct?
Oh yeah, just this morning when someone did a ride for $286, and there's another one currently right now for $370.
Holy mackerel.
So
Like, those are some money. Now, those aren't always he's gonna ruin the average for the rest of the country, just so you guys know. But that's a great thing. So the thing about it is like, I need people to understand, like, when Darius whenever you come to me, Adonis, and say, hey, I want to open up the city, I don't look at it and go, oh God, I don't think they're going to be able to do it. I look at it and go, how can we support him? How can we make sure that it's more successful? Because that is our job. That's my job as an owner of a company. I'm not just an owner. I'm a node owner with the rest of the people in the company. It's a community and stuff like that. So when we get that attitude that you have, I need 5,000 people like you. We have 5,000 people like you. Guess what? We go worldwide. We're global. Nobody can touch us. We're not going to be screwing our drivers over because the people that help make the decisions, there'll be an advisory board for drivers, which I'm sure you'll be on it. We have that now, but I go to the people that I know that are not only just opening cities, but they're driving. And when somebody comes to me and they go, well, I want to open my city, but I don't want to drive. That right there is a red flag to me. Because it's like, I'm not too good to drive. Like, I'm telling you right now, if I was home, I would be doing more of the Palm Beach drives. But if I am home and there's a ride that comes up and nobody else can take it, guess what? I will get in my car and I will go drive that customer, because that's part of building a business. I'm not too good. And I know that's probably a big thing with you. Your people see you do what they're doing. You're working, you're going to your job. They know you've got a kid. You're leading by example. And so tell me, how many rides do you think y'all have done since you opened? I could pull up the number. I mean,
please,
you're
I don't know.
7 to 10 a day.
Okay, I think what's the thing is I think we've done, since we started, 60 rides, maybe more.
You
Really?
did 24 in your first 5 days.
Oh,
So I promise you, you're past 60.
but
I
the
think
thing
you're
is,
averaging about 10 a day.
wow.
And when did y'all open?
2 months ago, I think, right? I think,
Tell me. I'm gonna look it up. I can look
think
it up
September.
real quick.
I think it was in September. But yeah, I think it was in September. But the thing is, and the thing is, right now we're growing so fast that we don't have enough drivers to cover it all. So I'm sometimes I'm having to wake up 3 hours earlier than what I have to wake up to be at the base an hour or 2 hours before to do rides. So there are nights that I'm getting 2 hours of sleep because I have to wake up even earlier because the soldiers are training in the desert, doing some shooting ranges with vehicles and all that, and there's no one on the base. So then I have to come in from Vegas, wake up 2 hours earlier just to be there to do a $5 ride. So you know what I mean? Just do a $5 ride. I got to wake up 2 hours early, but it is what it is. That's the game.
$5 ride next time could be a $230 ride.
Exactly.
That's what I don't think a lot of people understand or get. It's like they have to get out of that mentality of, hey, because I know how drivers do it. We opened Miami. When we first opened Miami, I had these meetings. I told people, hey, it's going to be different. Some rides are going to be higher, some going to be lower. We're making some changes so that the drivers, it'll be a percentage off instead of taking out $5 or $1. So it's going to be better. Yeah. But we're always going to be changing to make things better for the drivers, the customers, and referral partners. But I think that like what you get when you just said that, I get up from Vegas, drive 2 hours, whatever it is, to do a $5 ride. You're not mad about it. Now, listen, are you happy that you have to do that? Probably not. But in the long term scheme of things, if you really look at it and go, hey, if I do this now, like my mentor, when I used to have a shirt that says, I'll do now what others won't, so I can do later what others can't. Like I would do this stuff and I still do it now. And I
I
don't
have
do
a
it towards
driver.
the
Hold down 1 second. Let me just text this
end.
driver. He's hitting me up right now. He's on a ride. Let me just text him.
Yeah, go ahead. So
He's doing-
while he's doing that and he's actually working, it's funny because this is Saturday. We are October 12th. You know, thanks to technology, I am able to be on a call with him while he's getting his thing done. I won't keep us too much longer. It's already been 30 minutes, but one of the things I want him to kind of share when he gets back on is why he puts so much time and effort into this. Like he's got a lot going on. And it's funny because I know people go, I'm really busy. I promise you, you're not any busier than Adonis. He's got a family, brand new baby that they're raising. Got his wife, his military career, has to drive hours and hours and hours, and doesn't have to, but maybe has to because he needs it. He's driven like that, but he's putting the time and effort and caring into doing what we're doing because he knows long term that this thing is going to pay off. So, like, even right now, during the middle of our call, he had to run off and do what he had to do. So, what I would encourage those of you that are on and listening to this today, whenever you're listening to this video, I'll try to get up as soon as I can, but it's so important that you get the right mentality. You hear people all the time talking about mindset, and I talk about it over and over and over and over because listen, the details don't matter if you're not driven to do something. Like if you're not driven, and if you're not driven as much as Adonis is, or I am, or some of the others around you, find something that will drive you. Because I promise you, you will thank us later on. Someday you're going to come back to me and go, oh my gosh, thank you so much for helping me find a why. And if you don't find a why, you got to have a why. You got to have something that gets you up out of bed every single day. And I have had to change my why. At one point, it was money. I was so sick and tired of being broke. And I hear people say that all the time. I'm tired of being broke. And I tell my son, I'm like, don't tell me you're sick of something if you don't make a change. Because if you really hated it, I hate smoking. I smoked for 20 years. And I kept telling people, I hate smoking. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. No, I didn't hate it enough to quit. That same thing. I hated being broke. I thought I have people in my life that I've had to excommunicate, cut out, and get rid of, and you'll probably find that out. But it's like I can't put myself around anybody that their mentality level is not going forward. They don't have to be perfect, but that's why it's fun to talk to someone like Adonis. That's like when he got off and took this call. Some people would be like, "Why would he stop during the middle of our interview on this thing and go do a call?" Because that's what it's about. Like, and it wasn't staged. I mean, I saw the text come in. So what I want to do, I don't want to take much. We'll do more of these and we'll start having more. I'll have you guys on when we do, our Wednesday nights and things like that. But I wanted you and I to do something for just a few minutes. After you've given a little bit of this, I want you to share with why you're excited about REVO now. Maybe it's changed. In the beginning, it was one thing. Now, why you're excited about it now and where you see the future of it going for you.
Well, the number one thing, dude, that I love to do is to help people. That is, for me, that's better than a new car, than a new house, than all the money in the world, man. When I see people's faces light up because they got paid and they start to like buy fancy things, and like, for example, Angelin, one of my top drivers, she would tell me, I'm not available this weekend because my husband and I are gonna go out, this and that. I'm like, oh, really? Oh, that's dope. And they started off with no money, and other, I mean, I'm pretty sure they had money, maybe, I'm not saying they're
Right,
broke,
but not
but
expendable money. Like not,
exactly.
not they were making the bills and making ends meet. But for you to say that, I think that's such a driving force in what I do. It's like, I mean, I take abuse. I take abuse from everybody, and it's okay. Like I've been doing this a long time. And it's funny because one of my friends goes, why are you doing this? Like, you don't have to. You didn't have to go out and try to take on the transportation industry. You didn't have to go out and try to take on these big companies. And I said, well, I kind of did. Like, it's a calling for me. Helping people and doing the right thing for others is something that my parents instilled in me when I was young. And it sounds like you have that same thing. And there's nothing anyone can buy from me. My birthday comes up in a couple of weeks and I have people calling me and going, hey, what can I buy you? But it's funny. I will be on an airplane flying to Dubai for a conference for crypto and blockchain technology, I will be in the air or in an airport pretty much all of my birthday. And most people would go, I'm not doing that. Like, why would I want to do that? Like, that's
Yeah.
stupid. I'm not going to give that up. To me, I'm going out there because I'm furthering our business. I'm going to meet people that are, experts in their field, and I'm going with some of my friends, and and I'm traveling around, and I'm people like, it's funny, I whine a little bit about it because I like to whine, but at the end of the day, like my travel, I'm in Colombia. I've been here often. Like last week, I had the opportunity to fly home. I was going to stay for 2 weeks. One of my friends is a comedian. He's really starting to go after it. I've been begging him to do a show in West Palm Beach. So he finally did a show in West Palm Beach the 2 weeks I was going to be gone. And I said, you know what? I could tell him I'm not going to make it. It would make it easier on me, but I didn't. I flew back home on Friday afternoon. I went to his show. I spent Saturday home, Sunday home, doing stuff, getting things ready. And Monday morning at 4 a.m., came back to Columbia because I had meetings and things that I had, set. And one of the things I want you to share with is what drives you. I was just sharing while you were doing that call and taking care of the drive. I was like, what drives you to do these things that nobody else will do? Like for real, for real. Is it your family? Is it because you have a new baby? Like, what is it that really gets you out of bed to do that 2-hour drive and nothing when you don't have to really?
Yeah. Well, I'm a black sheep in the family. My family is filled with academics. You know, both my parents are doctorates, psychology majors. My dad's a bishop. My mom's a pastor and a
Oh my
teacher.
gosh, it sounds like you and I have this. My parents, I'm adopted. My mom is graduated high school in 3 years, college in 3 years. My dad's a computer genius, and I'm adopted. And I tell people I didn't get that smart blood, and they're
Yeah,
missionaries and all those things. And I think I always felt like I never measured up. I
yeah.
never was, but because of business, I've been able to. So go ahead. I'm sorry, but
So yeah. I mean, I've always when I looked at them because I've always seen my parents as heroes because they've at the same time that they have pursued their academic goals, they also pursued their dreams. But I always thought that my parents were being held back by the ideology that you can't be intelligent or smart or gain wisdom without a diploma. Like you need that in order to get somewhere.
right,
And I was growing up, I was like, but no, you guys, because I saw how brilliant my dad was in marketing and in sales, and my dad's also a CEO of one of the biggest radio Hispanic radio stations in New York and in North and East Coast. And I see how much potential my dad has when he goes on his own merits and forgets about the fact that he has a doctorate in marketing or whatever.
right.
And I was like, you know what? I want to be like that part of my dad. I want to be that part where he doesn't think that he can do it without a diploma or without all this fancy
Doing it
stuff.
for them, you can.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
And
awesome. And I think so many times people like you and me, we strive to overachieve. I think sometimes people that have had it, like they did so well that they never really, like, I don't know why, but my parents, I love them to death and they're amazing people and they raised me the right way. They gave me all the good things that they had, like caring about people, having a calling, being a Christian, all the things that went around with that. But I just think that they also showed me what I didn't want to be. I didn't want to be
yeah,
held back. I didn't want people to tell me I couldn't do something. So I was lucky that I kind of got, that whole deal. And I think you're hearing your story now makes me even more sure of who you're going to be because we have that little bit of a chip on our shoulder that
yeah,
says, go ahead, tell me I can't do this. Like,
yeah,
just the more you tell me I can't, the more I want to go do it. Every day when we have a problem with like I tell my developer, I'm like, listen, I want to put things into your eye whenever I see these problems and things like that. But it's also that I'm like, all right, these drivers and these people that tell us we suck. I mean, there's people that go online, says everything, I don't care because I know that we'll get the problem fixed. I know because of Evelyn, and you dealt with Evelyn, probably Lisa, Jeannie, like, that these people are not just doing this as a job. Like
yeah,
they don't get paid anywhere near as some of the drivers, but guess what? They've been with me for years. They believed in my dream and my ambition. But the only reason they're stuck with it is because I know that if I can build this, it'll help them get what they want. So yeah,
for sure.
that's amazing. So where do you see this for you in the next few years?
Well, when I get out the army, Um, the exact so people don't believe me because my wife the other day was telling me the only reason why you're blowing up in Rebel like that, honey, is because you're in the army base. I was like, really? Okay, okay,
Yeah, I love to hear that because I know
okay,
there's people who are going to watch this and go, "Oh, well, I don't have an army base. I don't
yeah,
have a captive audience. I don't
yeah,
have this." That's what you and I talked about the other day. It's like, okay, let's go show them.
yeah.
Let's.
So when I get out, I am going to blow up. I'm going to blow up Vegas. I'm going to blow up all this.
I
I'm
think
going
you're
to
going
blow
to
up
do it
San Diego.
before you get out. When are you getting out?
April 2016. Sorry. Oh my gosh, 2026.
I'm going back in time. Oh, listen, I promise you, I don't feel like you're going to wait until 2026 to
Oh,
blow up.
I've already started. Already,
I mean,
I'm already on
all
it.
you got to do is duplicate yourself.
Yeah.
Find that person. And that's what I encourage people to do. It's like everybody wants to recruit everyone. You don't need everyone. Darius needed someone like you. I need someone like you. You need 5 Adonises. And that's why it's like the other night, I don't know if you're on our call, but Lori Gassamy and I were going through and we were talking about finding aces and kings and queens. And like you're going through a deck of cards. Every person you talk to, I look at it like they have a number. And it's like, okay, that person's going to lead me to 2 people if it's a 2 or a 3 or an 8 or 7. I think over the next 2 years, I see you opening probably 20 to 30 cities because once you get yourself down, you're going to know what to look for. You're going to look for that person that's got that drive, and you're also going to know what to tell them to do, and you're going to expect it. Like, it's so funny because a lot of times people will recruit someone and get them in, and they're like, oh, I hope that they go do this because I didn't.
Yeah.
Like with
Yeah.
you, it's a whole different deal. It's like, listen, you got to go do this because this is what I did. And this
Mm-hmm.
is what I'm doing. When somebody, I can't sit here and expect people to go do rides if I've never gone and done a ride. Like
Yeah.
I've done rides. I've done Uber. When I went through my divorce, I woke up with 7 cents in a bank account one morning, even though I had millions of dollars. She had locked it down, done some crazy things. And I had a horrible reputation. People thought I was a crazy person they thought she was a nice, sweet, but I just went to work. I said, all right, I went to work. I got up and I did Uber in a Escalade at the time. And every morning I was like, man, this is the stupidest thing I've ever done. Like I'm putting more in gas, I think, than I'm making. But
Yeah.
I kept going and kept going. And then that same year, I had some other opportunities that came along where I still made 100,000. I was raising a 10-year-old, 11-year-old son by myself with no family anywhere in sight. But it's like now I look back on those things and I'm like, this is why people are happy for me to work with them because they know I'll push. They know I don't care. They don't care. I don't care what comes against me. I'm going to keep going. And now that I found someone like you, and there's other people that are the same way, there's a lot of people that they're excited, they're driven, they're motivated, they love what we do, but they haven't got the results. And I think what you bring to the table is it does work. Like Jeff Trills. Jeff brought it in, and people
Yep.
up until that point, I kept telling our people like, we got to find that one person. Got to find that one person. We find Jeff, and
Jenny's
he probably drove you to go. Hey, if he can do it, so can I.
yeah, yeah. Jenny's calling me. I'm just letting you know. I'm not gonna
All right.
answer. So
Listen,
when Jenny
go answer her. You and I have done
okay.
enough for today, but we're gonna get on more calls, and I'm even more excited about you doing this stuff. And I'm gonna start having you do training calls with drivers, and helping me formulate the whole process of onboarding. So go talk to Jenny, do your ride, and we'll talk soon.
Roger. All right, take
Thanks,
care.
man.
Bye.
Have a great day.
You too.